Good morning, it's April 1st, April Fools. Um, Today we're going to be looking at TC Energy Corp, or also Trans-Canada Pipeline with ticker TRP. So it's a little bit different, it's a little vague when the person asking me to look at this said it was Trans-Canada Pipeline, and I had to look this up a little bit and figure out if I was actually pulling up the right signal, but TC Energy operates as an energy infrastructure company consisting of pipelines and power generation assets in Canada, US, and Mexico. Consists of all these pipelines, and yeah, it looks like it's the right idea. So we have a market cap of 58 million, and it looks like we're in a million cents, so it's not billion. So this company might have some room to grow, but under the current state, I mean, it looks like gas is not increasing in value right now. I mean, to be perfectly honest, though, I haven't had my hands in oil or gas at all, so it might be actually looking like a pretty good play right now. So I can't say much about that. I know in general as a world, I don't know if we could say that we're going to be moving towards more gas. This is an interesting little site that just has well, different numbers. I mean, it's just stats, right? But one of the cool stats is when we're looking at energy here, and days left to the end of natural gas. So there's still a lot of time here. I mean, oil left. I mean, who knows if these are all perfectly true? They can always find more oil. They can always find more of this stuff, but regardless, you definitely see a push towards, let's say, solar and renewable energy. Let's just say that, whether or not these will be fleeting in any recent time. But back to the main summary here. Yeah, you can be the choice. I mean, I don't think the whole world's going to be able to just abandon fossil fuel, but I mean, it's going to be a transition. So a lot of these pipelines, I mean, there's constant battling between environmentalists and the government, and it just seems like nothing can get done with these projects. Half the people saying it'll help, half the people saying it's going to harm. Um, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, regardless of my personal opinions about renewable energy, let's go and check out the stock here and see what we got. Just gonna blow this up. Sorry, I just left that kind of. Holy smokes, what a mess. Oh man. Oh man, sorry. What a mess here. I think I must have been just like playing around. Look at all these vertical lines. I think I was just like trying to compare. Geez, so this is like what? How are you gonna use any of this information? Like you can't really see anything here. It's gross. So I guess I mean it's always good to practice, and that's what I was doing here, checking out these Elliott waves and waves within waves. Jeez, though. Okay, we got something. Um, Maybe just ignore all these things. Cause man, I should have just checked this out and deleted it a little bit for. Well, there goes the one. What was up there? All right, the MACD. And this is looking a little bit different than I like it, so we're gonna go look, and I think it must be the MACD strategy. And that is not the one. Holy shit, look at this thing, hey? I have no idea what's going on here, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna just start exploring random stuff. Come on, one more time here before I ruin this for everybody. Okay. think the colors just are a little bit different. And I'm used to having this on each side. Regardless, this will still work. This will work here. Let's get this a little bit better. So let's zoom this thing out. And damn, this thing looks like so I had quite the interesting inception here as well. It kind of looks like one of those stocks we looked at yesterday. Which one was this? The Axon, or what other one do we look at? Wheaton. This kind of looks like Wheaton a little bit. Not such a severe drop like that is. That's kind of a scary drop right here. It looks scary anyway, 70% right there. So it looks like we had an open back in the day here in 1997. We had a little push up, reached about $34, and we had a crash down all the way back down to 9, and then we regained that value all the way up. We had a little pullback and regained it, had a little pullback and came back up here. Alrighty. So with this kind of chart, you could somewhat do some of this kind of stuff and do a little bit of a larger kind of Elliott wave when it's applicable. It's applicable. You could say what's wave 1? That could be wave 1. That could be wave 3. This could be wave 5. I mean, this could be also right here. This could be right there. Could look at it. Could be an extended first wave like this, because that's still applicable, like right there. I mean, I'd have to look at this, but it's either like that, or it's something like, you know what, I kind of like this one. Either way, but on a big macro sense, you can usually see 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. You could break this down even more. Every time that you have a correction wave, this should be 3 waves here as well. So when I say the wave up should be 5 waves within here. Looking in here, it could be, let's say, I don't know if I really like that perfectly, but I think my point is made. You have to do 5 waves within each one of these upswings right here, like so. And then this can be the confirmation that, hey, this is actually something of such a structure. And so, yeah, we still could be, let's say this 4th wave, we could be coming up and hitting our 5th wave up here. Or maybe that's even the 5th wave there. That's just me kind of playing around with that Elliott wave theory. Again, I'm not the best at it. Sometimes just looking at price action and trend lines can be a little bit more applicable to making decisions. A lot of times people say, don't overcomplicate things. Well, can't help it, man. Can't help it. So here on a monthly sense, what's the average moving? What's the average price over 100 months in this stock? Well, that's what this line is representing right now, and you can see that over the last decade or so, it looks like this line has been a pretty good buy point historically. So people that bought in with these wicks down here on the month sense probably have been overall quite profitable. So we see pretty good swings here in momentum too with this stock. It looks like a clear swing up, a clear swing down, a clear swing up. And these are kind of good to get into. I mean, these are good to identify just because when they're in these kind of V patterns, there's more potential for like swing trading, because these start becoming a little bit more clear and concise. These crossovers are very clear. I mean, in the monthly sense, yeah, if we enter in these crossovers and exit out of the crossover and enter into the crossover and exit out of the crossover, you're making money here. And I mean, that's pretty simple strategy looking at the month-to-month time frame. Right here we had a huge sell candle right there, but it looks like it's regained a lot of its value here. I'm not sure exactly who bought all the oil stuff here, but yeah, we still don't. Our cars still run on oil, so we'll see what happens. What else can I say? It looks like this one, usually that's a pretty long indicator for a monthly sense. Might look at something more like a 55 and it hugs it a little bit tighter. But let's look at the weekly and see what we're looking at. And the weekly here, well, I kind of do like for a really long-term investment, the 200-day on the weekly is a seemingly okay indicator as well. Yeah, it looks like this would be kind of fair price for the stock. Just gonna go back one thing. We can see on these indicators the monthly momentum we're having a decrease right here. We're having a sell signal as well. So this is looking like on a longer time frame, we might have a couple of months of down action here. And looking at it on the weekly, yeah, you can see we're already come down. We haven't had any signs of reversal quite yet. And well, we had one bar up here, but nothing too much for me. What to see on a daily sense? Just take a look at this, and looks like yeah, we are having that up climb. Looks like we had a nice little cross here. So it depends on what's the play, right? I mean, what time frame are you looking at this? Because this might have a little bit of room to the upside, or it did. It did, right? I mean, but we might be a couple days late to this party. There was this uptrend right here within a couple days, so we could find a little bullish rally within a day-to-day time frame, but in the week time frame, it might be still moving overall downward. So that's how the different time frames mean the world, you know, when you're looking at this kind of stuff. And looking at the 200-day moving average on the daily, we could say that we've kind of went up and down over it, but you can see it's been pretty consistently riding along this, so this could be probably considered fair price too, right around here. But yeah, those are just some of the bigger things. So let's just pull it back again, see what we're working with. This one doesn't have the best. With such a big dip here, it kind of messes up the trend line. I mean, nonetheless, I mean, so before you might draw it right there. I mean, considering if this was the present date, you'd probably draw it right here, and then you can see that it's obviously broken down off of it. I mean, you can draw it right here, and then it kind of broke. You can draw it here to give it more flexibility now. But I don't think that that has a lot of value just because of such a dip. It's not too consistent, and maybe you're better off of looking at like the moving average, like on a weekly sense, you know, this longer moving average or a monthly moving average. The 100 monthly was an interesting line that it seemed to be respecting quite. You know, that's pretty good, man. Like, you know, it's touching that and bouncing off every time. So I like that one, and we can also draw trend lines in a shorter time frame. So even though that this is month to month, I mean, we could draw something, let's say, like so, right here, and instead of having it deviate all the way behind our chart, making it look like a bloody mess, I mean, maybe we want to just use an arrow. So we can use this arrow and kind of formulate a bottom trend line. Maybe we can get a couple touches there. So yeah, I don't mind that. So there's a little bit of a trend line there, and let's see what the top's looking like. The top here is not so. Three touches is okay. I mean, we could say we're in this kind of parallel channel, like so. And yeah, I guess this has been overall positively uptrending, but I think gas and oil has particularly been hit hard during this. I mean, looking at the gas prices, they seem pretty low. That's not what I wanted. So considering that, I mean, this sector, 38%. It's quite a bit. I mean, but yeah, it looks like on a monthly sense, we might have some downward action here. Like you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this is like a course of a year. We have this little pullback, and to see such a drastic decline like that in just a month or two, I mean, we haven't seen a sell bar like that for. I think that's the biggest sell bar we've seen actually in this. So Is this just a sign of capitulation? I mean, that could be a possibility. I mean, capitulation meaning that this is kind of establishing the bottom price of oil. I mean, after a certain point, oil's worth, so much a barrel. It just really is. I mean, it can't be driven any lower. And that could be that could be a sign here, depending on how these next candles start forming. Now, if this just starts dumping to the downside, I'd be a little bit less happy about that, to be perfectly honest, because that is a possibility. I mean, there's a oil war going on between Saudi Arabia and Russia. I mean, I'd be lying to say I knew the full details, but they're basically driving down prices to combat each other, to try to do a price war to run the other out of business, so to speak. So that's why we're having lower prices here, I think, with oil. And this price actions is so quick that um, it missed the global pandemic. I mean, knowing that Saudi Arabia and Russia are having that kind of trade war, it's difficult to predict what's going to happen. I mean, looking at some of these trends right here, it doesn't really look historically like the good place to jump in. We're right at the top of the cliff here again, so that's not the best thing for, let's say, this energy stock. Like for me jumping in here, I don't think I'd be jumping in right now, just because like, well, the monthly and the monthly momentum and MACD are way up high, and just like there's not a lot of like there's no consolidation right here. I mean, you can look at these points as a little bit better entry points, and you know that a good move is coming. You just don't know which way it's going to come. But yeah, I don't know. Let's just look at this weekly here and confirm it. So we're still moving to the downside. I mean, will we have the next ticker back up? We don't know, but that is a sharp decline. Hey, that's a really sharp one. We haven't seen that kind of sharpness since, well, right here it was kind of similar. That's a pretty sharp decline. And we caught back up a little bit, but only just to fall back down again. So we could be looking at something like this pattern here. We could have a sharp decline, have it rally back up, and just kind of hover around here. We could have a sharp decline, have it rally back up here, and then we could have a trickle down effect before we kind of have a resurgence in the price. The weekly sense here, that's still dropping. I don't know if I want to jump in right now. On the daily sense, like we said, there was opportunity to get in already a few days ago if we wanted to ride this short-term wave up. But realistically, what's happening is that during a correction wave, you're basically trying to ride this B up, but you know that Mr. C wave is here to come, right? So it's not for beginners for sure. I mean, for me, like, do you really want to risk this when you know that we're going down and we could still keep on more or less? What we could have is we could try to come back up into a 1, 2, and then if we don't really beat this high, we consider that a failure, and we more or less just continue with another ABC pattern to the downside. So that's where if you can find out the count that you're in, it's kind of a nice guideline to see, okay, where am I in this kind of wave structure? Am I in a 5-wave structure up, or am I in a corrective 3-wave structure down, and then another failure and another 3-wave correction down? So right here almost looks like a good example. There's an ABC right here, and then I could almost say maybe there's an ABC right there, and then what we have here is a wave failure. So we got one, we kind of came up here and we failed to break up here. We could mark that as a failure, and it would fall again with another 3-wave structure down. And then we finally have an actual success here. One, whether we want to mark that as 2, and then all the way up as 5. And we can see we broke through here with that wave, and now it'd only be fair to say that we must be in some type of A, some type of B, and where is this C wave going to go? I mean, where is this going to go to? I mean, depending on how bullish or bearish this is going to be, we'll see how this plays out. I mean, this could be a lot. Well, it's crazy to see how violent it moved, right? I mean, so the volatility is very high. So we could be looking at something like that. Again, just food for thought. I mean, I'm not a great detailed Elliott wave theorist, theorist, but you know what I'm saying. I usually look at this price action, some of these indicators here, and just try to time the bottoms a little bit more for entries and take profits at the top where I can get the most bang for my buck. So, what do we say? We'll just look at this at a little bit more of a. Let's even zoom this in a little bit more. Let's go to the 4 hour. See what we're looking at. So, looks like we had this nice rally up. It is pretty freaking messy in here, so it gets a little bit tougher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Yeah, so we could almost say that even within this B wave up, let's say this A, B, C, this general thing, the B wave always has a A, B, C within it too. So there's going to be that, and then the bigger waves have the 5 waves. So it looks like it's forming something of the similar sort. Looks like we had our first tick down here. I mean, the momentum's coming up, so it looks like we might roll over and continue. You know, we might have this and have it roll over, and then it would continue with this weekly sense down, and more with this monthly sense down. So with this energy corp, I mean, I'm pretty neutral about the fundamentals. The only thing I could say is that, yeah, there is a global push for renewable energy and it's subsidized, you know, so it's tough to compete with a competitor when it's not fair. So if you're getting grants for renewable energy and you're competing against an oil company that's not getting any bailouts and is just getting their pipeline shut down left and right, it's really tough to make profits and to have increased price. Now, is the government going to save oil and gas? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they haven't been doing a great job here in Canada and Alberta. Like, they seemingly don't. And they always on the surface say they care, but it's kind of not as good as you'd like to see it. So, anyway, I think with this one, I'm a little bit more neutral. I mean, it does have an overall uptrend. I mean, we could say that maybe this is kind of reaching the extended wave of this 5 wave cycle, and maybe we're due for a little pullback. Like in here, yeah, I don't know about entering into this right about now, but is it time to panic sell? I mean, I'll leave that up to you. I mean, it looks like we have that wick down. We're quite a bit higher here. It's $60, so there's not too many people that have probably an entry lower than this, and we're a little bit above fair price here. So I would say it wouldn't be I wouldn't kick yourself too bad if you wanted to get out of this right now. Again, I could be completely wrong. I mean, I'm not sure how perfectly correlated this is to the price of oil. Like it kind of touched on, it was natural gas. It is somewhat of a small market cap, 58 million. That's not too much when we're talking energy. I mean, energy's got a big market cap. But yeah, we can see that inevitably it will be a fleeting thing. But there's lots of time for that to have some price action to the upside too. So with this one, yeah, I mean, we either like this big red candle is either capitulation, which is a very good sign that we're going to be going up, but you know, like in loom of like all these other things and just the state of the economy, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. This one I'm pretty uncertain about. Like, I'd like to see some more of this action play out before I had any type of certainty. I mean, we're pretty close to, let's say, all-time highs here at 76. So, I mean, definitely if this thing starts breaking out, I mean, I want a piece of it for sure. You could say anything that starts raising above here, we have to be a little bit, we have to take a look at that. You could say right here, we were definitely challenging that rise, and we had to dump down, but only to come back up. Yeah, I say we got some pretty big range here to bounce within, but I think I made my point here. We'll see what this does. I'm expecting it to have some downward momentum though, and then maybe we'll have a good rally afterwards. Anyway, that's going to be it for TRP. My apologies. It was a little bit. It was crazy messy at the start. I should do a little bit preemptive tidying up before I open these things. You can see now, though. I mean, comparatively speaking, like these are a lot more neat. There's a lot less indicators to look at, and yeah, you don't want to have it too muddy that you can't look at anything. One other quick thing that I thought was pretty funny. I mean, if you're into cryptocurrency at all, most people look at the coin market cap, and today, lo and behold, I'll just refresh it. I mean, people are not going to realize what I'm looking at here. But number one, we usually have, Bitcoin, right? Ethereum, XRP. But what the hell is this number zero? Toilet paper token with a piece of toilet paper. The market cap of seemingly 85 billion with the volume of this. And it's currently out of stock. And it's 1,000% up today. And it's got a butthole in the price chart. So someone obviously hacked this site and they put in the toilet paper token as number zero and they put it at a huge market cap. And yeah, I thought that this was pretty funny. I mean, oh yeah, that's awesome. I mean, how can you not just laugh at some of this shit? I mean, anyway, yeah. Because Dogecoin is just like, it was made to be a joke, and here it is sitting at, well, 220 million market cap. So something that someone made as a joke, a fork off of Bitcoin is worth 200 and some million. So when you look at TC Energy Corp valued at 57 million, I mean, there is money to be had in that, but anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. Okay. I'll be looking into some more crypto in the future. I mean, those are always fun things to look at, but yeah, again, if anyone has any stocks they want me to look at, give me a shout. Thanks. Have a good day, okay? Bye.